Following my latest video on planche, today I'll talk about the front lever technique. I'll mention every instant fix and hack you can do, as well as exercises to help you improve and understand muscle activation. First, find yourself a low bar. It'll be much easier to enter the front lever position and practice it. You can then transfer the skill on a higher bar. A quick disclaimer, this video is only about skill technique. But for a full training plan, you definitely want to include exercises on a high bar. The front lever is performed by holding your body in a straight line. Main muscles here are lats and rear deltoids, but you can also engage abs, glutes, chest, triceps, biceps, and forearms. I'm going to talk about every muscle group plus give you additional exercises for them. Let's start from the top. Since we chose a low bar, we can start by adjusting our grip. And the grip matters a lot. What you want to do is to have more external rotation. This way your forearms will activate better. This is quite intuitive because the more vertical they are, the easier it is to hold the position. You can even try the false grip, which will take some time to get adjusted to. Some people think that this is the false grip, but it's not. The false grip is when your wrist bone is actually on top of the bar or even deeper. This is also good for slow muscle-ups, but can be painful if you're not used to it. It's definitely worth getting used to, however, I wouldn't recommend learning the front lever with the false grip. The reason is because you are limiting yourself to this technique, especially on a high bar, where it's much more difficult to do it. After all, if you want to master the front lever, you should be able to do it with a regular grip. Another thing is to place your wrists in a slightly narrow grip. By bringing your arms closer, you also engage your chest. It doesn't matter too much, so don't exaggerate with it. Just think intuitively and choose which one is more comfortable for you. Front lever isn't just about pulling up to the bar, but also about pushing away slightly. This may surprise people, but your triceps is also doing some work. Generally, a good exercise to understand how to enter the front lever and activate your arms is L-sit to front lever raise with resistance band. You can start with bent elbows and lock them out at the top. Speaking of bending your elbows, by doing it, you will also activate your biceps. Remember that bending your elbow engages your biceps and straightening it engages triceps. These are antagonist muscles, which generally means that while one works, the other does not. However, it's certainly possible to engage two at the same time in an isometric hold like front lever. In this case, the biceps maintain the flexed position of the elbows, while the triceps counteract any unwanted movement by pushing away to stabilize the joint. Remember that the ideal technique is to have your arms completely straight, so eventually you will minimize biceps engagement by improving your back muscles and relying more on it. Speaking of the back now, retract your scapula. Retraction is achieved by pulling your body up while keeping your arms straight. This right here is a good exercise you can do. Even better, apply the same movement as you're doing Australian pull-ups. As I said earlier, the main muscle group in a front lever is lats, so naturally you will pull with your back. There shouldn't be any problem with activating those muscles. Generally, your back just has to be strong enough, but that's a topic for another video. Here are two exercises that will help you understand the pulling movement. The first is straight arm pull downs, and the second, which is even better, is front lever raises. With resistance bands, inverted deadlift, or a tuck version. Your goal is to get to this point where you're able to raise your straight body without any assistance. Even if you can only do one repetition, it's still worth trying. Another movement you want to do is to rotate your arms externally, as if you're bending the bar. However, this is not achieved by your lats, but by rotator cuff muscles behind your shoulders. Abs and glutes. This is quite straightforward. Just try to engage them as if you're doing the dragon flag. This is actually a good practice exercise if you're struggling to engage those muscles in a front lever. Another, even more simple way is to practice activating those muscles during regular pull-ups. If you're familiar with a perfect pull-up technique, you will know that your abs, glutes, and even legs should be tense. Important note, if you're doing tuck levers, your abs won't work the same way, not to mention the difference between the angle of your arms, which is actually a big deal. So it's worth including resistance bands practice in your workouts, which shouldn't be too long, by the way. Practice is only a small part of your training plan. Most of the time, you will probably be training for strength and specific muscles. Bonus tip: a lot of people struggle with transferring the skill to a high bar. I had this problem for a long time too. The solution for that is doing front lever raises and descents, which can be done as two separate exercises. By spending more time in this range of motion and working on specific muscles which are needed for the front lever, you will get better at raising your body to a horizontal position. If you're able to hold the front lever on a low bar, you should also be able to do at least one front lever raise from a hang. But if you're still struggling, here are easier variations of these exercises. Front lever descent, which is naturally easier than raising, so definitely give that a try. Front lever raise and descent with resistance bands. Front lever raise and descent in a tuck position or in inverted deadlift position. And that will be all. Check out my other front lever videos if you want to see more. And if you want a detailed and personalized front lever course, you can DM me on Instagram. The link is below.